Silent Night's End. Sarah Chen stood at her bedroom window, watching snowflakes dance beneath the streetlights of suburban Boston. At 32, she was spending her first Christmas Eve alone since the divorce, her daughter Emma staying with her ex-husband this year. The enchanting holiday lights strung across neighboring houses did little to lift her spirits as she nursed a glass of wine, her cat Pixel purring contentedly at her feet. As head of the Atmospheric Monitoring Division at MIT's Lincoln Laboratory, Sarah had grown accustomed to keeping odd hours, but something felt different about tonight. The unusual atmospheric readings she'd noticed earlier that day kept nagging at her. The ionospheric disturbances weren't typical of any natural phenomenon she'd encountered in her 15 years of research. Her phone buzzed, a text from her research assistant, Marcus Rodriguez. "Dr. Chen, you need to see this. The anomalies are intensifying." Attached was a graph showing massive electromagnetic fluctuations in the upper atmosphere, far beyond anything their instruments had ever recorded. Sarah's scientific curiosity overtook her melancholy as she grabbed her laptop and began analyzing the incoming data. The patterns were unlike anything she'd ever seen, organized, almost rhythmic disturbances that couldn't be explained by solar activity or terrestrial sources. Across town, retired Air Force Colonel James "Thunder" Thompson was enjoying a quiet evening with his grandchildren, trying to convince them to go to bed so Santa could come. At 65, his weathered face had softened somewhat in retirement, though his sharp blue eyes retained the alertness that had served him well during his years commanding the 104th Fighter Wing. His daughter Katherine, a captain in the Air National Guard, was helping her mother Carol in the kitchen when Thunder's secure phone, the one he'd kept after retirement for emergencies, began buzzing. He hadn't heard from his old contacts in years, and something about the timing sent a chill down his spine. "Thompson," he answered, his voice automatically shifting back to its commanding tone. "Colonel, this is General Martinez at NORAD. We need your expertise. Something's happening, and it's not a drill." Thunder stepped into his study, closing the door behind him. "Talk to me, Richard. We're tracking multiple objects entering the atmosphere. Hundreds of them, moving in formation. They're not following normal ballistic trajectories, and they're not responding to any known IFF signals. The president's being briefed now." In downtown Boston, Detective Michael O'Connor was working the Christmas Eve shift at Boston PD's Special Operations Division, more out of habit than necessity. At 43, the decorated officer had earned the right to take the holiday off, but after losing his wife Maria to cancer 2 years ago, he preferred keeping busy. The first signs that something was wrong came when the department's radio system began experiencing interference. Static-filled transmissions reported strange lights in the sky, first dismissed as Christmas decorations or late-night revelers with drones. But O'Connor's instincts, honed by 20 years on the force, told him something bigger was brewing. The volume of calls was increasing exponentially, and the descriptions were too consistent to be coincidental. In a small apartment above her family's Chinese restaurant, 16-year-old Jenny Wu was live-streaming to her followers, sharing her grandmother's secret dumpling recipe as part of her growing cooking channel. Her phone screen suddenly flickered, the image distorting before cutting out completely. "Ugh, seriously?" she muttered, checking her Wi-Fi connection. But it wasn't just her stream, all the electronics in the apartment were acting strangely. The Christmas tree lights pulsed erratically, and the television displayed only snow. Through her window, Jenny noticed other buildings experiencing similar issues. The entire block seemed to be having power fluctuations. She grabbed her camera, the expensive one she'd saved up for all year, and headed to the roof to document whatever was happening. At MIT's Lincoln Laboratory, Sarah's analysis was interrupted by a campus-wide power outage. Her backup generator kicked in, but the readings were getting worse. The electromagnetic disturbances were now visible to the naked eye, aurora-like phenomena appearing in the clear winter sky over Boston, far from where any northern lights should be visible. Her phone rang again, this time it was Dr. William Hayes, her mentor and the laboratory's director. "Sarah, are you seeing this?" "Yes, and it's impossible. These patterns, they're structured, Will. Too structured to be natural. The DoD is on the other line. They're saying similar phenomena are being reported globally. Major cities across all continents. Sarah's scientific mind raced through possibilities, each more improbable than the last. But there was one conclusion she couldn't avoid, no matter how much it challenged her rational worldview. Will, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart, I think we need to consider the possibility that we're dealing with non-terrestrial technology. The words had barely left her mouth when the first explosion lit up the Boston skyline. Thunder Thompson was already in his car, breaking speed limits as he headed toward Barnes Air National Guard Base. His daughter Katherine had suited up and was preparing to scramble with her squadron, despite his protests that she stay with her mother and the kids. Dad, this is what you trained me for, she'd said, her jaw set with the same determination he recognized from his own reflection. The sky erupted in brilliant colors, but these weren't Christmas lights. Massive objects, each the size of aircraft carriers, materialized through what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. Their surfaces seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, making them appear as voids against the starry night sky. Detective O'Connor coordinated with emergency services as panic began spreading through the streets. Years of crisis management kicked in as he established command centers and evacuation routes, though to where, he wasn't sure. This wasn't like any situation covered in the department's protocols. Jenny Wu's live stream had reconnected, and she found herself broadcasting to hundreds of thousands of viewers as she documented the impossible scenes unfolding above her family's restaurant. Her hands were steady as she filmed, her voice clear as she narrated events that would soon be watched by millions around the world. Sarah Chen's scientific detachment crumbled as she watched the first energy weapons fire from the alien ships. The beams weren't designed for destruction, instead, they seemed to be targeting power infrastructure, communication systems, and military installations with surgical precision. This wasn't a random attack. This was a carefully planned operation, launching simultaneously across the globe on Christmas Eve, perhaps choosing the holiday specifically because of reduced military readiness and the chaos that would ensure when families were separated. As emergency sirens blared across the city, Sarah made a decision. She needed to get to her daughter Emma. Whatever was happening, whatever these beings wanted, she wouldn't let her child face it alone. But as she reached for her keys, her computer screen came to life with a message broadcasting across every functional device in the city. People of Earth, do not be afraid. We come bearing gifts. The invasion had begun, and humanity's last normal Christmas Eve faded into chaos as the night sky filled with ships and the air crackled with otherworldly energy. In homes across Boston and around the world, holiday celebrations transformed into scenes of confusion and fear as families huddled together, watching the impossible unfold. Thunder Thompson's tactical mind was already analyzing patterns, looking for weaknesses. Detective O'Connor's protective instincts drove him to organize and safeguard civilians. Jenny Wu's camera captured history in the making. And Sarah Chen's scientific expertise might hold the key to understanding these visitors, if they were really visitors at all. As the first part of this extraordinary night drew to a close, none of them could have imagined how their lives would intertwine in the hours to come, or how their various skills and backgrounds would be tested in ways they never thought possible. The Christmas gifts under their trees were forgotten as a very different kind of package arrived from the stars, one that would change humanity forever. The aliens' message about gifts echoed ominously through the streets of Boston, leaving everyone to wonder, what kind of presents do invaders bring? And more importantly, what would be the price of receiving them? The gifts they bring. The first hour after the aliens' arrival brought a surreal calm. Their ships hung motionless in the sky, dark silhouettes against the Christmas Eve stars, while humanity held its collective breath. In Boston, the initial panic had given way to an uneasy stillness, broken only by the sound of emergency vehicles and the occasional military aircraft maintaining a cautious distance from the visitors. Dr. Sarah Chen had made it halfway to her ex-husband's house when the second broadcast began. This time, it wasn't just text, holographic projections appeared simultaneously in major cities worldwide. The beings revealed themselves for the first time, tall, ethereal creatures with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors like the northern lights. Their massive eyes reflected an intelligence that was unmistakably advanced, yet somehow familiar. "We have watched your species," the alien spokesperson announced in perfect English, their voice resonating with an otherworldly harmony. "We have seen your potential, and your limitations. On this night you call Christmas, we offer 3 gifts to humanity. But as with all gifts, there will be choices to make." Sarah pulled over, her scientific mind racing. The aliens' technology was beyond anything she'd imagined, their ability to project stable holographic images on this scale, their mastery of Earth's languages, their apparent understanding of human culture. But something about their timing, their methodology, felt orchestrated. Almost theatrical. At Barnes Air National Guard Base, Katherine Thompson's F-15 sat fueled and armed, but the order to scramble never came. Instead, she found herself in an emergency briefing with her father and top military brass, watching as the aliens outlined their gifts. "The first gift," the alien announced, "is knowledge. We will share with you the fundamental principles of quantum gravity, clean energy, and faster-than-light travel. This gift comes with no strings attached." Thunder Thompson's tactical experience screamed that this was too good to be true. "It's a trap," he muttered, but General Martinez raised a hand for silence as the second gift was revealed. "The second gift is healing. We can eliminate disease, reverse aging, and repair environmental damage to your planet. But this gift requires a choice. 10% of your population must volunteer to undergo genetic modification to become custodians of this knowledge. They will remain human, but changed. Enhanced." In downtown Boston, Detective O'Connor had established a command center in City Hall, coordinating with emergency services and trying to maintain order as crowds gathered in the streets to watch the holographic announcement. His police training told him to focus on crowd control, but his mind kept wandering to his late wife Maria. A cure for cancer, coming too late to save her. Jenny Wu's livestream had gone viral, with millions now watching as she provided commentary on the unfolding events. Her youth and earnest perspective resonated with viewers worldwide, and she found herself becoming an impromptu voice for her generation as the third gift was announced. "The final gift is protection. We can shield your planet from cosmic threats, asteroid impacts, solar flares, and other civilizations less benevolent than ourselves. But this protection requires humanity to accept our oversight. A partnership with us as senior members." The implications were clear: semi-autonomous vassal state status in exchange for security. Thunder Thompson's jaw clenched. He'd spent his career defending American sovereignty, and now aliens were offering protection in exchange for submission. Sarah Chen's phone buzzed with a priority message from Dr. Hayes. The laboratory's instruments had detected something disturbing, energy readings suggesting the alien ships weren't just passively hovering. They were doing something to Earth's atmosphere, something subtle but profound. "We give you 24 hours to consider our gifts," the alien spokesperson concluded. "Choose wisely. Representatives will be chosen from among you to communicate humanity's decisions." The hologram faded, leaving behind a stunned silence. Then, chaos erupted anew as the implications sank in. 24 hours to make decisions that would irreversibly alter human civilization. Katherine Thompson received new orders: her squadron would escort a diplomatic team to a designated meeting point with the aliens. Among the chosen representatives was Dr. Sarah Chen, selected for her expertise in atmospheric sciences and her ability to potentially understand the aliens' technology. Jenny Wu's live stream captured the moment when the first reports of miraculous healings began. In hospitals across Boston, terminal patients suddenly showed signs of improvement. The aliens were offering proof of their capabilities, but were these demonstrations genuine, or merely sophisticated manipulation? Detective O'Connor found himself dealing with a new crisis: people were gathering at hospitals, desperate for healing, while others fled to churches, seeking spiritual guidance in the face of these godlike beings. The streets were filling with both celebration and protest. Sarah Chen finally reached her ex-husband's house, finding Emma safe but transfixed by the alien's message. At 12 years old, her daughter grasped the magnitude of what was happening with surprising clarity. "Mom," Emma asked, "if they can cure all diseases, why do they need to change people? And why exactly 10%? It was the kind of incisive question that reminded Sarah why she'd gone into science, the desire to understand, to look beneath the surface. And her daughter was right, there was something too precise, too calculated about these offers. Thunder Thompson arrived at the base's Strategic Command Center to find it buzzing with activity. Intelligence reports were coming in from around the world. The aliens hadn't just targeted major cities, they'd positioned ships near military installations, power plants, and other strategic locations. Their gifts came from a position of overwhelming strength. Catherine's pre-flight briefing was interrupted by urgent news. The first volunteer for genetic modification had stepped forward, a terminal cancer patient from Boston General Hospital. The aliens had accepted, and the transformation was about to begin. Jenny Wu's camera captured the moment when the patient was enveloped in a column of shimmering light. When it faded, he stood transformed, his cancer gone, his aged appearance reversed, his eyes now sharing the same iridescent quality as the aliens. The modified human spoke, his voice carrying the same harmonic resonance as the aliens. "I understand now. Their gifts are real, but they're not what we think. We have to." Before he could finish, the connection was cut. Jenny's live stream went dark, and reports flooded in of similar incidents worldwide. Anyone attempting to broadcast the modified human's messages was being silenced. Sarah Chen's analysis of atmospheric data revealed a pattern. The aliens weren't just affecting Earth's atmosphere, they were altering its fundamental frequency, like tuning a giant instrument. But to what end? Detective O'Connor received reports of people gathering in large numbers at certain locations, drawn by what they described as an irresistible calling. The modified humans were congregating, but their purposes remained unknown. As the first hours of the aliens' deadline ticked away, humanity grappled with impossible choices. The promise of advancement and security weighed against the fear of submission and change. But Sarah Chen, Thunder Thompson, Katherine, Jenny Wu, and Michael O'Connor were beginning to suspect that the real purpose of these gifts had yet to be revealed. The Christmas Eve that began with an alien invasion now barreled toward a deadline that would determine humanity's future. But as midnight approached, the question remained, were these really gifts being offered, or was humanity being wrapped up like a present for purposes yet unknown? The modified human's interrupted message haunted them all. What had he discovered? What truth lay behind the alien's generous facade? And most importantly, how could humanity make an informed choice without understanding the real price of these cosmic presents? The hidden price. As Christmas Eve crossed into Christmas Day, the truth behind the aliens' gifts began to unravel. Dr. Sarah Chen was the first to piece it together, working from a hastily established command center at MIT's Lincoln Laboratory. Her daughter Emma sat nearby, helping to organize the flood of data coming in from research stations worldwide. The atmospheric changes Sarah had detected weren't just side effects of the aliens' presence, they were deliberate alterations to Earth's resonant frequency. The pattern matched what she'd observed in the modified humans, as if the aliens were trying to tune humanity to a specific wavelength. It's like the resistance rises. Time was running out. With less than 6 hours remaining until the aliens' deadline, humanity's resistance was finally taking shape. The pieces of the puzzle had come together through an unlikely alliance of Sarah Chen's scientific insights, Thunder Thompson's military experience, Jenny Wu's worldwide broadcast network, Detective O'Connor's ground operations, and Katherine Thompson's aerial reconnaissance. The modified humans had become the key to understanding the aliens' true intentions. While most of the transformed volunteers remained under apparent alien control, a few had broken free long enough to pass crucial information to the resistance. Their messages, though fragmented, painted a disturbing picture of the aliens' true purpose. Sarah Chen had established a secure communication hub in an underground facility at MIT, protected by experimental electromagnetic shielding. Her daughter Emma had proven invaluable, her young mind spotting patterns in the modified humans' behavior that adults had missed. "Mom, look at this," Emma said, pointing to a map displaying the locations of transformed humans worldwide. "They're not just gathering randomly. They're forming a grid." Sarah studied the pattern, her blood running cold as she realized its significance. They're building a planetary network. The atmospheric changes, the genetic modifications, it's all part of the same system. At Barnes Air National Guard Base, Katherine Thompson led a covert operation to track the energy signatures of modified humans. Her squadron had discovered that the transformed individuals emitted specific frequencies that resonated with the alien ships. Thunder Thompson, working with military leadership worldwide, had developed a theory about the alien strategy. "They're not invading us," he explained during an emergency briefing. "They're trying to transform Earth itself. The modified humans are like antenna nodes in a massive transmission network." Detective O'Connor's street-level intelligence network had identified a pattern in the alien selection of volunteers. They weren't just accepting anyone, they were choosing individuals with specific genetic markers, creating a carefully calibrated biological network. Jenny Wu had transformed her cooking channel into a global resistance communications platform. Using coded messages disguised as recipe ingredients, she coordinated information exchange between resistance cells worldwide. Her young followers, digital natives all, proved remarkably adept at evading alien surveillance. "Today's special recipe requires exactly 7.83 Hz of determination," she broadcast, using the Earth's natural Schumann resonance frequency as a key to encrypt resistance communications. "Mix well with a pinch of defiance and let it rise until free." The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. William Hayes, Sarah's mentor, had managed to establish communication with a group of modified humans who had developed a degree of immunity to alien control. Through them, the terrible truth emerged. The aliens weren't gifting humanity with advancement, they were preparing Earth for harvesting. The modified humans were meant to be biological transmitters, part of a vast organic antenna array that would allow the aliens to tap into Earth's core energy. The knowledge, healing, and protection they offered were real, but they were merely bait for a cosmic trap. The third gift was the key, Sarah realized. They needed our willing submission to establish the initial connection. Like vampires needing an invitation to enter. Catherine's reconnaissance flights had discovered something else: the alien ships were not as invulnerable as they appeared. Their power seemed to fluctuate in sync with the modified humans' energy signatures. If the human network could be disrupted, the ships might be vulnerable. Thunder Thompson immediately saw the tactical implications. "We need to break their network before it's complete. Once they have enough modified humans in place, they'll be able to begin the energy extraction process." Detective O'Connor's teams began covert operations to rescue modified humans from their gathering points, breaking up the aliens' carefully planned grid. Each rescue was dangerous. The transformed humans possessed enhanced strength and abilities, but some part of their humanity remained, and they could sometimes be reached through emotional connections. Jenny Wu's worldwide broadcast network became crucial for coordinating the resistance. Her young viewers, using skills honed through years of avoiding parental internet controls, developed innovative ways to disrupt alien communications and spread truth about their plans. Sarah Chen worked tirelessly to develop a countermeasure. If the aliens were using Earth's natural frequency as a carrier wave for their control signal, perhaps that same frequency could be used to break their hold on the modified humans. Emma, watching her mother work, had an insight that would prove crucial. "Mom, what if we don't need to break their connection? What if we can use it against them instead?" The idea was brilliant in its simplicity. Rather than trying to disrupt the alien network, they could use the modified humans' connections to feed back a destructive signal to the ships themselves. It would be dangerous, possibly fatal to the transformed humans, but it might be humanity's only chance. Katherine Thompson volunteered to lead the first aerial strike team. They would need to get close to the alien ships to transmit the feedback signal effectively. "Dad won't like it," she told Sarah, "but he'll understand. Sometimes you have to risk everything to save everything." As Christmas Day reached its midpoint, the Resistance put their plan into motion. Jenny Wu's network broadcast a seemingly innocent holiday cooking special that contained coded instructions for Resistance cells worldwide. Detective O'Connor's teams moved to protect key modified humans who had broken free from alien control. Thunder Thompson coordinated military assets into position, ready to strike when the moment came. Sarah Chen, working with Emma, prepared to broadcast the feedback signal. The timing would be crucial. They would only get one chance before the aliens realized what was happening and completed their network. The modified humans who had broken free warned that the aliens' gift-giving facade was about to end. Once their network was complete, they would drop all pretense of benevolence. Earth would become just another power source in their cosmic harvesting operation. As the Resistance made their final preparations, a new message appeared in the sky, not from the aliens, but from the modified humans who had broken free. "We were wrong to accept their gifts. Some presents come with too high a price. Save us if you can, but save Earth first." The stage was set for humanity's counterattack. The question was, could they strike before the aliens' network was complete? And how many of the modified humans could be saved? As Katherine Thompson led her squadron toward the alien ships, as Jenny Wu broadcast her coded messages, as Detective O'Connor positioned his teams, as Thunder Thompson prepared his forces, and as Sarah and Emma Chen calibrated their frequency weapon, the future of humanity hung in the balance. Christmas Day would either mark humanity's greatest victory or its final defeat. The aliens' gifts had been revealed as poison wrapped in shining paper, but humanity had prepared a surprise gift of its own, the gift of resistance. The final gift. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across Boston as humanity prepared for its last stand. In the 6 hours since discovering the aliens' true intentions, the Resistance had mobilized with unprecedented unity. The final battle would begin not with a bang, but with a broadcast, Jenny Wu's special Christmas recipe. Today's final ingredient, Jenny announced to her millions of viewers worldwide, is hope, served at exactly 7.83 Hz. Her voice was steady despite the chaos unfolding outside her family's restaurant. Below, her parents and grandmother were helping Detective O'Connor's team coordinate refugee movements through Boston's labyrinthine network of restaurants and shops. At MIT's Lincoln Laboratory, Sarah Chen made final adjustments to the frequency weapon while Emma monitored the modified human's energy grid. The transformed volunteers were nearly in position, 90% of the aliens' network was complete. They had minutes, not hours, to act. "Mom," Emma said, her voice tight with concern, "something's changing. The modified humans, their energy signatures are intensifying." Sarah checked her readings and felt her heart skip. The aliens weren't waiting for their deadline. They were beginning the energy extraction process early, perhaps sensing humanity's resistance plans. High above Boston, Katherine Thompson led her squadron into position. Each fighter had been modified with experimental transmitters designed by Sarah's team. They would only get one chance to broadcast the feedback signal directly to the alien ships. "Thunder Flight, check in," Katherine called, using her father's call sign for the mission. The responses came back clear and determined. Every pilot knew this might be a one-way flight. At the Military Command Center, Thunder Thompson coordinated with forces worldwide. The plan required simultaneous strikes on all alien ships the moment the feedback signal began. Timing would be everything, too early, and the aliens would adapt, too late, and Earth's energy would be drained beyond recovery. Detective O'Connor's teams reported a disturbing development. The modified humans were beginning to move in unison, their bodies glowing with otherworldly energy. The aliens' network was activating ahead of schedule. "We need to move now," Sarah announced over the secure channel. "Katherine, get your squadron in position. Jenny, begin the countdown broadcast. Michael, get your people to safety. It's starting. The alien ships responded to the premature activation of their network with devastating effect. Energy beams lanced down from the sky, not destroying, but transforming everything they touched. Buildings, vehicles, even plants began to crystallize, becoming conducting nodes in their vast energy web. Jenny Wu's cooking show reached its climax. Her coded broadcasts had coordinated resistance cells worldwide. As she began her final recipe, millions of people moved into position, ready to disrupt the aliens' carefully planned grid. Remember, Jenny broadcast, her young voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. The secret ingredient is family. Hold on to those you love. Hold tight. Katherine's squadron streaked through the crystalline transformation sweeping across the sky. Her father's voice crackled over the radio, "Katherine, their defenses are down. They're focusing everything on the transformation. This is our window." Sarah Chen initiated the feedback signal, and Emma monitored its effects. The modified humans began to react immediately, their forced synchronization becoming their greatest vulnerability. The resistance members among them fought to break free, creating disruptions in the aliens' network. The aliens realized the threat too late. Their ships, so focused on maintaining the transformation grid, were vulnerable to the feedback loop created by their own modified humans. Katherine's squadron delivered the amplified signal directly to the nearest ship, and the effect was immediate. The massive vessel shuddered, its light-absorbing surface beginning to ripple and distort. The modified humans connected to it cried out in unified agony, but their cries were human, not alien. The control was breaking. Detective O'Connor's teams moved swiftly, pulling transformed humans to safety as the feedback signal spread through the alien network. Each rescued person weakened the grid further, creating a cascading failure in the aliens' carefully constructed system. Jenny Wu's camera captured the moment when the first alien ship began to fall. Its surface, once perfectly black, cracked like obsidian, releasing bursts of trapped light. The sight was broadcast worldwide, becoming a symbol of humanity's resistance. Thunder Thompson coordinated the global military response, ensuring that as each alien ship was disabled, it was contained rather than destroyed. "We'll want to study their technology," he ordered. "But the modified humans are the priority. Save everyone you can." Sarah and Emma Chen monitored the cascade of failing alien systems. The feedback signal was working better than they'd hoped, not just disrupting the network but reversing the transformations. The crystalline structures began to crumble, returning to their original forms. The modified humans who had broken free joined the resistance, their enhanced abilities now turned against their former controllers. They helped locate and rescue others who were still trapped in the alien network. Katherine's squadron suffered losses. 3 pilots gave their lives to deliver the feedback signal to the most heavily defended alien ships. But their sacrifice ensured humanity's survival. As the last ship fell, Katherine led her remaining pilots in a missing man formation over Boston, a Christmas Day salute to the fallen. The aliens made one final attempt to salvage their plan. A message boomed across the sky: "You reject our gifts. Then you shall have nothing. We will return, and next time, we won't offer choices." Sarah Chen's response, broadcast through the very network they'd created, was clear: "We already have everything we need. Our greatest gift is our humanity, even the humanity in those you tried to change. You never understood that, and that's why you failed." As the alien ships retreated, their surfaces still crackling with feedback energy, the modified humans began to revert to their original forms. The healing the aliens had promised remained, their bodies were cured of disease and injury, but the controlling changes faded away. The first Christmas snow began to fall as humanity emerged from shelter. Jenny Wu's camera panned across Boston, showing people helping the recovered modified humans, families reuniting, and the first tentative celebrations beginning. Detective O'Connor found himself thinking of his late wife Maria. The aliens had offered a way to bring back the dead, but at too high a price. Some gifts weren't meant to be accepted, no matter how precious they seemed. Thunder Thompson embraced his daughter as she landed, both of them wearing matching grins that said more than words could express. Katherine had proven herself not just as a pilot but as a leader, carrying on her father's legacy while forging her own path. Sarah and Emma Chen watched the sunset together from the laboratory roof, the sky finally clear of alien ships. The modified humans would need help adjusting, and the alien technology they'd captured would take years to understand. But humanity had faced its test and emerged stronger. Jenny Wu ended her broadcast with a simple message: the best gifts can't be wrapped. They're the ones we already have, our freedom, our humanity, and each other. Merry Christmas, Earth. We did it. As night fell on Christmas Day, humanity began to rebuild. The aliens' gifts had been rejected, but they'd given humanity something unintended: unity, purpose, and a reminder of its own strength. Cities worldwide twinkled with Christmas lights, no longer dimmed by alien ships. Sarah Chen received one final message from the modified humans who had helped turn the tide: thank you for saving us. We understand now, the greatest gift isn't power or eternal life or protection. It's the power to choose our own path, whatever it may be. The Christmas invasion had failed, but it left behind a changed world. Humanity had glimpsed its potential, faced its fears, and chosen its own destiny. As families gathered to celebrate a Christmas unlike any other, they shared the greatest gift of all, the gift of hope, earned through unity, sacrifice, and the unshakable power of human connection. The stars twinkled overhead, promising both future challenges and opportunities. But Earth had proven itself ready for whatever the cosmos might bring. The next time visitors came bearing gifts, humanity would remember this Christmas, and choose its own path forward.